Welcome to the Country Fried Outdoors Chasing Your Experience podcast. The podcast that will connect you to resources regionally and nationwide to engage them in open, honest discussions so that we can inspire the growth that you need to chase the experience you want. So strap yourself in because here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Chasing Your Experience podcast. I'm your host, Sean Smith, and we have Tony Bennett back with us. Tony, how are you, sir?
Good, Sean. How are you, man?
Just peachy. Finally got some warm weather, and we had a little bit of wind today, but not as much as we had the other day. So some cleanup, and did a bow shoot today in the wind, and just off-season activities, I guess.
Yep. It's nice to be back outside, isn't it?
Finally.
Yep.
You guys probably still have a few yards of snow to melt off yet, don't you?
Yep. We're only going to get more. So our winter's not done quite yet. But it's almost there.
Yeah. You guys, well, not you necessarily, but up there above you, then they got some big snow coming. I seen on the news, like 24 to 40.
They're going to get feet of snow. So versus us, we're only going to get a few inches of snow. Yeah, it's a different world once you start heading farther north into the UP and everything. That turns into just snow up there is in the 4th of July is it's like it's not uncommon. So
it's a funny story at the bow shoot today. Someone said that, we're going to Crystal Mountain to the TAC event up there. I said, well, when is it? He's like, June. I'm like, well, the snow might be melted by then.
It might. There'll probably be only a foot or two there. So
the snow might be melted by the time you get up there, but so just like, they're getting more. And
no, that's always a fun shoot. I had a few guys that I know that go up there, and they said it's a blast. So bring a lot of arrows. That's all I was ever told. So you're gonna send some sailing into the woods.
You're gonna eat a couple.
Yep.
So, those things have gotten pretty popular. Like Seven Springs is one of their larger ones, and right. I know this is off topic, but that's the one I've been to. It's the closest one to me. It's only a couple hours away for me to get there, and but yeah, it's one of their bigger ones. And I think they had one down in West Virginia last year, and someone ended up getting shot, and I did not see that one back on the roster again. So,
whoops,
whoops, daisy.
Yep.
I don't know the full story behind that. I don't know who did what did who, how it happened. I just know someone ended up taking an arrow to the head. I do believe he survived, and there was a big GoFundMe for the guy, and I hope the guy is okay. I hope he made it out all right without without too many complications. But I didn't see that one on the roster again. So
no, I'm sure they took a year off probably to
I don't know if they're going
figure
back
out all the safety stuff. So
yeah, well, they didn't have a safety video you have to watch now. When you go to before you can register or somewhere along those lines, you have to watch your safety video, or they won't.
I'm sure
you can't go.
Absolutely, I'm sure they have to have some type of safety net there for them. So
the thousands of people that go there, and this is the only time we've ever heard this happening. I mean,
it's good. Yeah, good.
I mean, I say it that way, but that's pretty good that you managed this long without there being any major incidents, and it's not saying that wasn't like that guy's. I'm not saying it was his fault. I'm just saying it's not saying that wasn't his fault. Like he took off to go find an arrow and didn't leave something behind for somebody to know that he was at that target. Who knows exactly what happened? But anyway, it's not the content why people are here. So, Well, Tony, man, we have spent quite a bit of time over the last few months talking about in stages about food plotting and the ins and outs, from just a general overview to talking about micro plots to large plots to screening. And here we are at the final episode where we're going to put a bow on all of this, right?
Right. So basically, you and I have been chatting, and we came up with a property that we're going to kind of design out a little bit, kind of give you some tips here and there on how you can find the best way to either locations to put food plots, so on and so forth. Start building a tentative plan for your property or property that you do hunt. So, now where we're gonna go here a second. So,
Oh, it sounds like a plan, man. Like it's, might as well, and for the viewers, what you're going to see is that we're going to be putting up momentarily and throughout this podcast, I want to be putting up the property that we're talking about. I'm not disclosing where it's at, not telling you whose it is. Like it's a property that's been looked at and dealt with, but that's going to be coming up on the screen periodically as we're talking about this. And obviously, Tony's going to be explaining everything that's on the picture, or at least most of the things that you need to know what's on the picture. And then we're just going to run you through that process, my thoughts. And I'm assuming this how it's going to go, is this process of getting to the property, and then from start to finish, how this was laid out and why we did what we did. So,
yeah, absolutely. So I guess I can start here. So the property that we chose, the one big thing that we did, and what everybody else can do, is the biggest thing you want to start off with is usually an aerial map. Nowadays there's plenty of different hunting apps. I mean, there's Onyx, HuntWise, HuntStand. I mean, you name it. Google Maps. You can use anything. The one that we used on this one was HuntStand. The only reason that I used that one on this property is it would track our movements. And I'll kind of explain it as we go into more detail here why I used that one.
Mhm.
Just for my personal use, just because it kind of gives me a better idea of how everything's laid out. So looking at the map, if map will be pulled up, and as we look at the map, you're going to see a yellow outside of the line, which is the property line.
Mhm.
This property bought two different parcels, so it's actually the one big whole square. So
Mhm.
from there, you're going to see a green line. The green line is the access for the hunters that hunt on this land. Mostly that's just it's all like a ATV trail or walking trails, is what those kind of the green lines are. They lead to either the stands or they're just general, in and out of trails if they're using their ATVs or whatnot,
Mhm.
to, get access to the backside of the property or so on and so forth. So now the next set of colors that we're going to look at is the orange colors. Now, all the orange colors you see on there are actually me tracking my own personal steps on the known deer trails that are there. So all the orange lines that you'll see are all the deer trails that were walked by me in the fall, or towards the
Mhm.
winter and fall. So basically from there, we're going to just utilize those, as those are the deer trails. Now, were they heavily used? Were they not used at all? They were just deer trails that we found on this property. So
Right.
from there, you'll see all the different tags. You'll see there's some they have tower stands on this property, different baiting sites. There's a big red circle. That's their big main plot on this property.
Mhm.
Um, so the big main plot on that property, they have a couple smaller ones, but they're kind of hidden into this drawing per se.
Okay.
So, um, now I believe that's all the different colors I got drawn out on this one for them. So,
Yeah, it's
from
kind of.
there, the biggest thing we want to do is once you go out and you do all these different types of, aerial footage, all the different drawings and everything, and using these tracking things, now is the time to start building the plan from the piece of paper before you even step foot on your land. The biggest thing you want to do is look for all the deer crossings, look for all the pinch points, look for where most of the deer intersections are. Um, Once you start locating those give you a great idea on where to set up stands, where to set up food plots, so on and so forth. So, um, on this property in particular, why that one bigger plot is set up, it's more of an open field, is what it was.
Mhm.
They killed that off. So, and then they kind of just use the taller grass that's out in that open field as one of their destination plots. So,
Okay.
from there, then they have smaller little kill plots, is how I put it, throughout through all the different locations on the property. So,
Mhm.
So from there, then that's kind of where you start building your plan, is off the piece of paper. Find the intersections, find your best access as a hunter and where your stands are, or even where to put those stands too. So, I mean,
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of looking at that. So the orientation I'm looking at is that so north is up then, right? Like how
yep,
most maps work,
north
north is up.
is up.
All right.
Yep,
So it looks like your access comes in from west to east. Am I correct in that? It kind of dives down that your green lines, you come in from the west and travel east to get in there.
correct.
All right. I see that.
So,
You can see the natural. You can kind of looking at this. You can kind of see the pinch points here, especially if you look at the activity of the trails. So I kind of noticed that basically just the dead center of that entire property, like you can see the wood line, where and then you see all the open fields. Like that's it's like one big pinch point that kind of like almost like a peninsula that kind of folds into that property.
yep,
If I'm reading that right. And we would like to thank you for your support of the Chasing Your Experience podcast. If you'd like to continue to support the podcast, then please check out our online store at bonfire.com. There, you can purchase exclusive Chasing Your Experience podcast t-shirts and hoodies for all members of your family. Check out the link down in the description to find the store. And now, back to the pod.
yep. Everything kind of folds towards the middle of that property.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Without looking at like topography or anything like that, um, it is one of the lower points of the property. So that's where the deer are most likely going to travel into that lower section or the middle
Okay.
of that property before they split off. So, all right. So from there, once you got an idea on all your mapping and everything, before you even step out, um, you know, always carry it around with you. Use your phone, use your GPS, whatnot, to kind of give you the best, you know, setup. So once you get out, so from there, I should say, let's go out to the property now. Now that you're out to your property or the property that you're hunting, use your map, use your phone, use whatever, and try to look around for the best location though that you think you can get, equipment, um, the where you're able to, design your plots if you can. I mean, sometimes your food plots aren't right by your bow stands. And the reason for that is just simply is there's either no cover, there's no screen, your access isn't very good. There's no trees if you're going to hunt from a tree stand. I mean, there's multitude of different things, but simply using your map to kind of give you a general idea of where to set up is kind of what you're using that map for. So once you find your location and where you're going to set up a food plot, it could be a
Mm-hmm.
big food plot, whether it's, eighth of an acre, it could be up to an acre, it could be more than that. So once you get that mindset of, okay, this is where I want a food plot, the number one thing I tell everybody to do is get a soil sample. That's the number one thing that people always miss, is the soil sample. They always think all the dirt's good, or this used to be a farm field, so the dirt's going to be good. And sometimes it's not that way. And it's the unfortunate part is people just go ahead and just go, okay, they start tilling, they start doing all the work, and they go to plant something and nothing grows, or the growth doesn't come to what they're thinking it's going to be, just because the nutrients aren't there and so on and so forth. A soil test is basically going to lay out everything that soil needs in that area. So I can't stress that enough, because there's a lot of people that'll skip that, you know, $15 to $30 test, and it's going to save you a boatload of money. So,
Mm-hmm.
because some people won't put enough fertilizer down, some people won't put enough lime down, and those are big things that when it comes to growing, those are big attributes and to making things, more successful for you, so you're not wasting your money. Um, I mean, the healthy soil means healthy plants. So, I mean, it's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
easy to figure
yeah, we
that out. So,
yeah we dove in that so
um,
much. Like almost every episode, we've dove into that, and that's probably a cue or clue to somebody like this is really important that you need to do this, right?
yeah,
Um, because as you said in the past, like if the pH isn't right, you're locking away nutrients that's in the soil that the plant can't access because they're just locked in there. But if the pH is right, then that opens up all these nutrients. You can have the fertilizer, you can
Mhm.
have all the nutrients in the world, but the pH isn't right, then they're not getting to the plants. And
Yeah.
and vice versa. Like you can have great pH, but if there's no nutrients, ta-da.
Yep.
you know,
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
And Lord
So
knows what the farm left behind too. Maybe they've ran a couple years of corn or something that's taken all the nitrogen and nitrates out of the soil, and they haven't had a chance to go back into rotation. So you might be missing a lot of nutrients. If you lucked out, then you got them as soon as they were done with a soybean rotation. But
yeah.
you know that you're just playing a roll of the dice, just going with that. Now I've heard a couple people say, well, if you don't do the soil test, then just do this. Like they say like some mix of fertilizer, just put that down anyways, and you should be fine. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
your thoughts on that is, but
So I've seen that there's some recommendations that some companies put on the back of their bags that kind of give you a general idea. Um, it's a good starting point if you absolutely don't want to do a soil test for I don't know what reason, but if you just are in a bind and you have to plan it, it's usually like 300 pounds of, you know, triple 19 or triple 17 or triple 16, along with, 500 pounds of lime. It's kind of a safety net that they're trying to put on there for you just to give you a general idea of what to do. But for the most part, a soil test will give you exactly what you need for what you're trying to plant to give you the best, you know, growth and outcome of your whole plot. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, I guess, so once you get your soil test back, now you know what you need. So now this is where the fun part is. This is where you get to design. So I know we had an episode where we went over designing plots and the whole
Mhm.
thing with that. So now that comes down to your property and what you're trying to facilitate for that property, where you're trying to get the deer, whether you want them to come in all together like a destination plot. Do you want to set up as a kill plot where you can get those pass through shots where you have deer coming through consistently? Um, you know, it now's the time to start designing, lay out flags, lay out markers. I know one spot we went to, we put plow stakes down just to give you that visual of how you think it's going to look. Because you can talk about it all day until you start designing or until you start, tilling
Mhm.
up the land, disking, whatever you're going to choose to do. And then you're like, oh, wow, this isn't as big as I thought it was going to be. Or, wow, this is a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So, I mean, lay it out. Use, marker stakes. Use something to give you a general idea. Okay, maybe I got to take a few trees out, or I got to take some brush out to give me, what I'm looking for. So, that's a good starting point for that. Now that you're on the ground and you're trying to visualize everything. Um, So then comes all your equipment. Now you can do food plots. I've done food plots with nothing more than a backpack blower and a rake, a hand rake, and just equity. So it's just, you know,
That's a
this
lot.
is where I'm going to have to backpack in my backpack blower. I'm going to backpack in the seed, everything. So but I know this is where they're going to cross through, and this is an outstanding spot. So it took me a few hours, but I got it down to bare dirt and I had it all taken care of and basically let Mother Nature kind of take over the rest of it once I got the seed down. So now, if you're fortunate enough to have a ATV or a lawnmower or a super nice Kubota tractor or something like that with a nice tiller on the back, now that makes things a lot easier. So,
Yeah.
the biggest thing I've come to find is people till too deep. Now, depending on what you're planting, now for most food plot seeds out on the market, it doesn't matter wherever. Most food plot seeds do not need to be more than about, half inch, quarter inch, eighth inch. They don't need to be very deep. Too deep, meaning they're going to be buried under the dirt and it's going to take them a long time to either germinate or they don't germinate at all because they don't get the right nutrients, the moisture, so on and so forth. So most of the time with standard food plot seeds across the market, there's exceptions. Corn has to be planted fairly deep. That's a pretty deep planted seed because it's got to establish its roots. So, but I'm talking on the market type seeds, you have
Hmm.
to just push it in with a quad tire. Just run over it with your quad tires. If you have a cultipacker, cultipack it in. I mean, that one step right there will make a huge difference. And seed to soil contact is a big, big thing too. So,
Hmm.
I mean, if it was me and it was anywhere, I mean, the two major things are a soil test and cultipacking. Those are kind of your staples to getting a good start at plant or getting the seeds off to a good start. So,
You lucked
so
out, and yeah, I know. So when we did one here, close to where I live, we went through, we killed everything off, and then we tilled, and then we plant, and then I went out with a hand spreader, spread everything, and then I drove over it with a 4-wheeler back and
yep,
forth a couple times, and had a lawn roller behind. Yeah, I was dragging behind me, and I'll tell you what, man, that came up with some pretty lush green
yeah,
food plot came up, shortly after that.
yep.
Um, if I could keep the geese out of it long enough for it to germinate. So
Yeah, see that's one thing, or the animals, chipmunks and
yeah.
squirrels and turkeys. Turkeys, I hear every spring season when guys plant clover, all the turkeys all scratched it all up. It's all gone. It's not all gone, but they probably did a pretty good. They, you got to do some damage control on that one. So
They
that's
did.
for
They
sure.
did. They put a number on it. I get it.
Yeah, yes, they can. Turkeys can decimate a food plot right off the beginning of the springtime. So yeah. Just kind of going through some more of my notes. Having a clean canvas to everything gives you better prep with a stronger growth. I mean, uh, get all the sticks and stuff. Start with a nice, as much sticks and much debris as you can get off the ground, the better. Um, I've I know there's a few things. There's this the doctor. I gotta think of his name off the top of my head. I'm kind of going blank on his name, but he has that buffalo method, the
Grant,
no-till drilling
Grant
through
Woody.
all that. That is a great thing to do. You just got to have the right equipment to do that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it comes down to having that equipment, the drills and all that. The standard guy like you and I mean, I do have a drill. I don't use it very often. I'd rather hand broadcast it just because I know how much seed I'm dumping down. I can adjust it on the fly. It's, it's the feeling is a little better on that aspect, especially with smaller seeds such as the brassicas and the clovers and everything. They're such tiny seeds. If you're not paying attention to your seeder, that could be dumping it out way faster. And next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, I'm out of seed. And now,
Mm-hmm.
where did I, where did it stop? So
You
you
don't
don't
know.
know until yeah, start doing that. So,
Yeah, about 2 weeks later,
um,
you'll know where you stopped.
yeah, yep, absolutely. Um, so I guess from once you get the seeds down, and I should have started over with this, what seeds to start picking, but we can go back or we can start talking about the seed selection.
Mhm.
Um, so with the seed selection and planting, so we kind of went over those two in our past podcast with the different types of seeds. The standards are clover, brassica, your grains such as oats and rye,
Mhm.
and etc. I mean, there's alfalfa, there's all sorts of different kinds, but basically, I'm gonna kind of do a real fast summary on all of them.
Yeah.
Clovers, you want to start clovers in the spring, summer. Um, they take a little bit to get the roots into the ground, just so they can start getting established and growing. Um, Clovers are great. They're an annual, so they'll continue to come back year after year after year. And the same goes for alfalfa. Um, Clover is a good all around food plot. It gives a deer different, good source of protein. Um, they love it. It's a great early season bow hunting thing. I mean, I've had guys up here too that use our first dew clover. Um, I mean, it's wintertime right now, and there's guys sending me videos of the deer absolutely hammering through all that snow up here, going for the clover that they just didn't get before the snow all fell on it. So,
Yeah.
so clover's a good all around for that. It can take a little bit of a beating too, more than any other plants. It just can regenerate itself faster. So it's a good starting point, but clover does take a lot of work to get going. So just be mindful of that it needs the proper nutrients. Clover does not need that much nitrogen. That's a big thing people got to remember. It's a nitrogen fixer, and meaning that is it puts nitrogen in the soil more than take it from it.
Okay.
So what that does, it's part of the rhizomes, and that's too scientific. I don't want to get way in the weeds with that. But anyway, clover puts nitrogen into the soil. So just remember that. So it doesn't need as much nitrogen because it creates its own, but it needs potash and phosphorus. It needs a high level of that. So those are good things to remember for clover when you're looking for a fertilizer. I guess the next one we'll go into is brassica. Now, brassica is all the different families of everybody knows them as the leafy plants. There's turnips, there's kale, there's radishes, there's collards, there's a bazillion different kinds of these type of plants. They are very, very good at bringing deer or carrying deer through the winter times in the harsher months. There's a lot of foliage that they can create. There a lot of carbohydrates built into these plants, so it gives the deer energy. The bulbs from the turnips and the radishes build a lot of carbohydrates in them too. So then we're gonna go back. These are the nitrogen takers, as I want to put them. So these brassicas need more nitrogen. They need quite a bit more because they need the boost of energy to grow, and that's how you develop the bigger leaves, the bigger bulbs, so on and so forth. So that's with brassicas. A misconception too: don't plant brassicas in the early spring. The only reason is they'll get nasty rot on them prior to hunting season. The plants will get unhealthy and so on and so forth. So brassicas are usually you plant those very late in the season, just maybe a month or two away from deer season. They grow pretty quick for the most part, so just take that in consideration on when your hunting season is and when
Yeah.
you want that established. So, and then the last family is the grains. Now these are your oats, rye, and your wheats, winter wheats. These are the grains. Now with grains they're very good at carrying deer from the wintertime all the way till the springtime. We all know in the Midwest, it's very, very hard for deer to find food locally, especially here in Michigan when you get 2 feet in a day. They're very good at holding their green to them. They're more palatable in the wintertime. They have more carbohydrates. You can put a bunch more foliage in one area. The other things about grains too, they're most of the time they're on the cheaper end of the food plot spectrum. Doesn't mean they're bad, just means that you need more of these seeds to, establish a very lush, thick food plot. With grains too, now they're in the same family as the brassica when it comes to what kind of fertilizer. Lots of nitrogen. It's just like your grass in your lawn. Nitrogen boosts your grass up, and then phosphorus and potash. You still need those in there because those help fight off diseases and help with all the other elements in the soil. So you still have to have that, but nitrogen's going to be a little bit on the higher scale for your grains and your brassicas. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then we kind of touched on it a little bit with being the broadcasting or drilling. There is guys that will fight you all over the board on whether you want to hand broadcast, you have to drill, You have to do this. I'll tell you right now, I've done it both different ways, and both different ways I've had success. So do with that as you may. I just like the few pointers I kind of put out is I can see when I run out of seed where I ran out of seed, if I'm running a planner or if I'm running a broadcaster. But if I'm running a planner, I could do a whole acre plot and be like, whoops, I didn't put enough in. And then, and then you're just, that's it. So, so with that, do with that as you may. I mean, it's what the equipment you have and what you are capable, or what you feel comfortable with doing. So,
Mhm.
so from that, just match your food plot with your soil and basically your overall hunting goals. I know we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes, but just match your hunting goals. Are you trying to build a food plot to keep the deer herd around all year long? Are you doing it just to harvest deer? I mean, are you just doing it for the fall section? Are you trying to establish a better, healthier herd? So start looking for plants that are more for the health of the deer and building up your fawns and your does and everything like that, so you can have a healthier herd as you go on. And match foods that help the bucks get through those harder sections, so they're not so stressed out in the spring and summer times once they come through that harsh winter. Basically just giving them all the nutrients through those times. So so fertilizer and maintenance. So with fertilizers, like we talked about, you have to or first of all, you have to have the right pH in the soil. If you don't have the right pH in the soil, you can't utilize the fertilizer you're putting down. If so, there's a pH scale. I'm going to try to rush through this quick too. So the pH scale is anywhere, it's from 1 to 14. 7 is optimal. It's called neutral. So 7, anywhere from the 6s to very, very, very low 7s, you're sitting pretty good for
Okay.
planting. In Michigan, personally, we have very acidic soil, so ours can be anywhere from like 5 to like 6. It's terrible soil, so that's why we have to use a lot of lime to basically build that pH up.
Mhm.
So, so once you get your pH very close with lime or whatever you got to use, the next thing is taking care of the weeds. Before you even put fertilizer, you got to take care of the weeds. If you have a very, very tall stand of, I'm just going to call them weeds, they could be anything. You got to kill them somehow. And some people are against glyphosate, 2,4-D, all the herbicides. It is up to you. It is very hard to get rid of weeds if you're going to mow them down. So, because they're going to just come back, and if once you put the fertilizer down, you're just going to keep feeding those weeds there. You have to kill them off somehow. So the best thing is a herbicide. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we have to take care of what's there to make what we want growing up. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, so use a good herbicide, study your plants, go to your local, elevator or agricultural place, and they'll give you a good recommendation. But most of the time, glyphosate should take care of 90% of it, and everything else at 2,4-D. Simazine is a pre-emergent plant. I mean, like I said, I could go through all the different chemicals, but just for the most part, glyphosate is Roundup is what the name is basically
Mhm.
what is the best route to take. So once you spray it and you kill off most of the plants or most of the weeds that are in your area, the next thing is to kind of till it up, get it all worked up, so on and so forth. One of the big things, and I know a lot of people are afraid of it or don't understand it enough, is once you kill off the plants and you get it dried, fire is one of the bigger things that will make your soil much better way faster. The ash that comes from those plants, I'll tell you right now, you can see right into the ash right after you burn and you kind of let everything cool down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be cooled down totally, but there's a couple of guys down in southern Michigan and they burned off a CRP field, wanted to plant clover right into this we lit it, we get all of our back burning, so on and so forth, burned it off. And within an hour, we were out there just broadcasting seed right into the ash that was
Mhm.
just burnt off from all the plants. It rained that next night, and you want to talk about it could have grown overnight. I swear to God. It just it it took off. But there's so much nutrients in the dead decaying ash that's there that
Mhm.
I mean it acts like a mulch layer. It does. I mean the benefits are crazy with the amount of what fire can do for the dead vegetation there. So, but a lot of people don't have a great understanding of how fire works, so on and so forth. I mean, coming from a firefighter, it to me, I understand it. I I love it a little bit. So it's once
Yeah,
you
you
if
don't become
you get
you don't become a
somebody that you
firefighter
know
not
like
loving fire.
what's that?
You don't become a firefighter not loving fire.
Oh
It's
no,
just
you have to love it a little bit, right?
it
So
goes with territory.
yep. But if you can get somebody that can, go through and assist you in it, I mean, the benefits, man, are it's crazy how much fire can help you and put all that organic matter that was above that you just, have it dead decaying sitting there instead of tilling it up and doing all that where it takes a long time to break down. Fire is almost like an instant, put it right back into the dirt. So that's my little spiel
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
we hammered that too earlier in some of the episodes about how
okay.
good fire is. Go through fire, clearing everything off of fire to get rid of. First off, it helps you get rid of a lot of that debris that
Yep.
you know because you talked about you want that nice clean slate. So fire is a great way of doing it because it's going to go through and burn it all up for them. So that you don't have all that litter.
Yep.
And then it leaves, like you said, all those nutrients behind. So
Right.
fire, fire.
So, yeah. No. So, I mean, yeah, it's a great thing, but you know, the standard traditional tilling, it does a good job. You'll just have a
Mhm.
lot of thatch. And the only thing with a lot of thatch is you won't get that great seed to soil contact if once you get that there. So that's my only thing on tilling. And you bring up all the old seedlings that were, hidden into the dirt and whatnot. So
Yeah.
you could actually bring up different weeds that weren't there before. So that's those are things you just got to take in mind when you're doing this planting thing. So there's a lot to it, but the standard just you know get the dirt exposed, pack the seed in with a cultipacker. I mean, it's a great start. So
Mhm.
once you get further into it, I mean, I'm always willing to help people out if they have a question on different plants or different weeds that are coming up their plot. There's some different sprays that you can take care of weeds and not harm your plot. So there's a lot of different ways to take care of those. So yeah. So from there, so now we go a couple months. We're planted. Everything's looking great. Food plot starts coming up. Now comes the work. So one of the bigger things I like to tell people is in the new age too, back when I first started, I mean, it was the old card in the camera deal. So you had to go out in the woods, pull the SD card, make a bunch of noise, stir
Yeah.
everything up. Yes, pain in the butt. Now we have these great things called cell cams that have changed the game forever. So you never even have to step foot out until you're ready to hunt. So, um, I don't know. Some guys still like to go out and flip cards and do all that, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's
Mm-mm.
just when your property's so far away, sometimes, you know,
That makes it a
it's
little
easier
rough.
just to have your phone sent to your pictures sent to your phone. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cell
So,
camera cell camera's one of those things that are debated, and I don't know how I mean, I use them.
yeah.
Everybody use I mean, I can't say everybody, but, a lot of people use them.
Yep.
A lot of different types out there. There's a lot of different brands out there, and I don't wanna go too far down that road, but I will say they are pretty heavily debated, and
Hmm.
I know they're already taking steps to take them off of public land. Like there's a lot of places that you can't use a cell camera on public land. I mean, they're efficient. I mean,
Yep.
they are highly efficient for use. Um, and I'm not trying to tell somebody how to hunt, how to go out and do these things because there are people who will set up, they'll let's say, well, without even getting into the baiting discussion, we'll talk. They'll go make a kill plot, right? They'll put a cell cam on there, and they'll just sit at their home in their office. They'll go to work, and then they'll wait till photos start coming in. And then once they have the deer that they want start daylighting a good bit, well, we'll go in there tomorrow because this is what the dad is telling me. So they're highly efficient for that, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I know you're about to go down the road, or I'm gonna assume and speculate you're about to go down the road about the scouting with the cameras and stuff and what the cameras are telling you. And it's probably telling you a few things too, that you're looking for in those cameras. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. So scouting, more or less, there's more to scouting in my eyes, there's more to scouting than just finding the deer I want to kill, so on and so forth.
Mhm,
Um, me, I've kind of gotten over the trophy mindset per se. I mean, I kind of if there's a buck we're really watching, absolutely, I really want to focus on where he's going, so on and so forth. But for the most part, we're we're just deer hunters. I mean, my
mhm,
family and everything like that. I mean, we love doing that. So my focus, more or less, when I'm watching these trail cameras, is how are the deer reacting to what I just did? That was just a big thing I just did a month or two ago, and how are they reacting to it? For the first, say this is our first year planting. How did they react to what I just did? Are they showing up, every single night on this plot? Are they not? Are they are more doe starting to show up? Are the bucks starting to, scent check through these areas? Are the bucks using it more? Is it starting to be more of a focal point, watching these cameras because I can't be out there 24 hours a day, but is what I just did changing the deer's mindset, basically?
mhm,
Like every night we need to meet here type thing. And I know deer don't talk, but is that where they're going to meet every single night? You know, it's your big, brassica plot that you have out there. You know, it, you're starting to create a new travel corridor is what you're essentially trying to do if you're doing a bigger plot. Now on a
mhm,
smaller one, it's are they passing through? And when they're passing through, how long are they staying? Are they staying for a while on my cameras? Are they eating what I planted? Or do I need to plant something different the following year? There's a lot of things that you got to start thinking about through the trail cameras more than just, oh, I have a buck on camera. Oh, I have a bunch of does on camera, so on and so forth. There's a lot more to it than that. If you're a turkey hunter, the biggest things, we'll just do this here. Michigan season starts in April. Beginning of April, I'm gonna put out cell cameras just to see where all the turkeys are. The toms heading out to all of our clover plots that we have set up. Because clover is one of the biggest things, or is one of the first things to green up in the summer or in the springtime. So, well, if it greens up, it's gonna hold moisture, and all the bugs and all that stuff start coming out. Turkeys love bugs, man. So
mhm,
that's gonna be their focal point. And where can old Tom go out and start strutting himself if you got a nice little clover plot? I mean,
mhm,
it's money, man. Um, you'll see a lot of Toms out in hayfields and everything like that. So if you had a nice, if you did a bunch of winter rye out in a field and stuff like that, it's not going to grow tall just yet because it hasn't heated up enough, especially in Michigan because it's still cold in April. But
mhm,
um, it's still going to be low and lush, but man, it gives them more of a view too of, hey, I can come out in this open area, strut my stuffs, check on hens, do all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's a year round thing. So you're kind of building that whole, you're changing the dynamic for all the wildlife on how to, use this area that you just created. So that's one of my big things with trail cameras is utilize them for more than just, I got big time. I got a really nice buck on camera, so on and so forth. So, um, that's kind of what I use my cell cameras for, more or less. So, timing a deer. I mean, you could probably think of more things than I can right off the top of my head, but those are kind of the main things that I look for in those trail cameras. And ultimately just like seeing how my plants are doing too. So,
right,
um, yeah, you know, has it not rained in that area? That's another big thing too.
mhm,
Say you got a long ways away, at least you can see those, how your plots are doing. maybe if I can get water out to them, maybe I should. I mean, they're good for that, more or
Right.
less just watching your plots and how they're doing. Um, clover plots, if they get overgrown too, you got to mow them down, so they don't go way out of control. After they flower, you mow them down a little bit. It helps regenerate and restart new growth and everything like that. So,
Mhm.
yep. So no, the trail cameras in that aspect are a good thing. So, but like what you were discussing about how they're starting to take them away. I mean, yeah, like you said, it they can be used for, you know, I can't call it cheating. It's not cheating.
No.
But it's more or less like you're setting up yourself to like take the easy road. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
It's one of those ethical debates. It's still fair chase at that point, and I
right.
don't know. Like I'm not on either side of this argument on this. I'm
Yeah,
really not.
same here.
But going back to what you're talking about, to kind of monitoring your food plots, that's actually a great idea. And reveal, and I know Tacticam reveals. It's the one I normally use. Like
Okay.
it's that's what I use. I can't speak on the other ones. Well, except for Spy Point, I have a Spy Point too. But mostly
Okay.
it's Tacticam reveals is what I run. And they have a check-in feature where they will do a check-in, and you can tell it whether to send you a picture or not during the check-in. Like, that's a great use for that check-in because it doesn't rely on a movement from an animal or for the camera to be triggered by something.
Okay.
So you can monitor your plots, with a quick check. I mean, you could do the time lapse or whatever it is that you want to do, but if you're trying to save battery life, because if you do this a lot, you're going to kill your battery. That it
Right.
just That's what it is, right? So what I'm thinking is that when you have that check-in, if it's watching this plot and all of a sudden you're getting all these check-in photos for daily, and you're 2 weeks in and you're not getting any growth, you obviously something's wrong. You're probably going to have to get some type of attention's going to be brought into this. Whether they've not been getting rain, something happened, something's just not working out right. Um, but also helps you monitor, how the growth is coming, how things are coming in too.
Mhm.
So, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
or if you're good at it, you could probably identify what weeds,
Yeah.
what weeds came
Yeah.
back and what's poking through that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And then too, monitoring how much rain and everything's getting. I mean, you know, the last couple of years here in Michigan too, we went through a heavy drought with
mm,
you know, that July time, and it was like, man, it cooked a lot of people's food plots. And
mhm,
it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I mean, there was a lot of, helping people out, you know, trying to get them set up for the seasons, so coming ahead. So but
yeah,
you know, weather plays a huge factor in food plotting. In the
mhm,
time of year, July is always the hottest month of the year.
mhm,
August, 50-50.
mhm,
So try to keep that in mind too when you're planning that it, it's going to be a harsh, a harsh
yeah,
thing unless you see that there's rain in the forecast and the
yeah.
weather's going to be somewhat good for growing. Well,
Yeah, we're in the same boat as you guys when it comes to the droughts. Like we every time coming into summertime, like in the spring, in the early summer, we had a crap ton of rain, like a lot of
mhm.
rain, right? And then all of a sudden, there towards the middle of summer, going into August, coming into season, like someone just turned the faucet off and we didn't get any. And that's killed a lot of plots, or it also started to kill a lot of our deer because
Oh
it
yeah.
opened up these areas for midges and stuff. So, Southeast Ohio got hammered with EHD. I'm
Yep.
sure it was littered, it was kind of sprinkled throughout the state, but that was the epicenter of this outbreak was down in Southeast Ohio. Um, and I don't know if they're going to recover in the next. Then it's going to be 3 or 5 years before that area recovers. Um,
Yeah.
but you're at the mercy of weather. Like you can't. What do you do? Like you can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can go out and try your rain dance if you want, see how that works out for you, but it's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
probably probably not.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't have enough money to get into
No.
cloud seeding. 'Cause I don't even know
Yeah.
how it even works. I just, but
Yeah.
uh, you're just
Well,
kinda
yeah.
at the mercy of it, and if you have the implements, I guess you could probably try to irrigate,
Mhm.
if you can, right? But
Right.
once again, that's a cost. Like, do you have the money to do that? Do you have the money to run a pivot? Do you have the money? And even then with a pivot, like, is your food plot really that big that a pivot's going to be beneficial, or
Cover,
you have a
yeah.
space load pivot, you know?
Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
you're in a drought, man, it takes a ton of water to, even get the ground somewhat moist or to suck up that moisture too. I mean, it'll
Yeah.
suck it up, but it's also gonna, it won't retain it. It'll just
Mm.
evaporate. If that soil's so
Evaporate.
dry, it's so hard for that soil to retain it because it's
Hmm.
just gonna evaporate because of the heat.
Yeah.
So those are things you gotta take into account too. So,
Yeah.
but
It's what it is. So, is
yep.
there anything that I guess before we dive in, I guess I will ask this question: is there anything that's really kind of drought resistant, like something that might be able to handle a drought, or is it
Um
just
So nothing is totally drought resistant. A lot of the plants that, we carry, myself, I try to find clovers that are drought resistant, try to find brassicas that are drought resistant. Um, I try to I try to find the best ones, and when talking to the dealers and, the seed guys themselves, what is the best ones? We try to find which ones are the best in the drought resistant, but for the most part, it's a 50-50 thing.
yeah,
Is it gonna get blasted, in one spot where a guy plants it way out in the open and it's from sun up to sundown, it's getting blasted by sun. It's it it's gonna get smoked faster than something that gets shade halfway through the day.
yeah,
It's so hard to tell people, man, this is drought resistant, but to what point on your plot can it go without water? So, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it comes down to that. So, but a lot of seeds, there's no
mhm,
one seed. There is some seeds that can take a little more heat and last and go into survival mode, but you know, you go 2.5 weeks of straight 90-degree blazing heat, no dew in the morning, anything like that. That's a recipe for disaster. So
yeah.
yeah.
There's not much you can do about that. It is
Nope.
what it is.
Then it's start over. Unfortunately, that's what it is, and I've been there before, so I've been there several times of start over, so, yep, it happens to all the best, so,
Man, I mean, that's what do you want to do? Like we
yep,
said, you can't. It is what it is. And you can't even forecast that it's going to happen. Like
no,
it's just one day it just starts and then just doesn't stop. And
that's yep, and on the other aspect, I mean, it could rain. It could rain day in and day out and never dry out, so,
yeah, that's a
a
whole
lot of
other
the
issue there
clovers,
too.
though, they can take quite a bit of moisture. Brassicas can take quite a bit. The only thing if brassicas get really, really wet, they'll get a mold. It's a
Yeah.
molding disease that can hide underneath the plant.
Okay.
Um, so and that'll just kill off the plant. The grains do okay. I mean, they can get a mold too. Um, so the clovers they do very, very well with water, more water than, being too dry. So, um,
So I'm hearing you say is clover's probably your best overall.
clover,
Your best
yes. Done a lot
overall.
of research with the clovers and the clover and alfalfas. If you can find the right alfalfas too, I mean,
Yeah.
man, those are money. It is. So I haven't had the right alfalfa yet that I want to start, you know, mixing in with stuff.
Mhm.
Um, chicory. I know a lot of guys use chicory. The only thing with chicory is it does really well. Don't get me wrong. Deer love it. And it's drought resistant too. It's just, it doesn't, it creates such big tap roots and stuff. It's almost hard to get rid of if you ever want to go a different direction
Mhm.
because it drives into the dirt and then it creates a harder root system. So, I mean, chicory's good. Don't get me wrong. That was a good one. Um, it's kind of a little pricey. Nowadays, it's been a little pricey. So, alfalfa's a little pricey, and so is clover. But in the long term, I mean, if you can really get your plot dialed in, I should say your soil, if you really get your soil dialed in and then plant one of those three, I mean, you're off to the races because those are pretty good plots to have the annual come back every year type planting. So
Mhm.
everything's a pre-annual. So you got to do it every single year. So, or
Yeah.
yeah.
If you ran into issues though, somebody will come in and they'll throw like an out say like they have a great success with alfalfa and it grows really well. Have they run into issues where it's caused issues with the deer? Because I
What's that?
know like So alfalfa,
Yep,
the way that I guess it's highly digestible. Like it's
it
really
is.
easy for them to digest. And if it's introduced to them at I guess at volume or at the wrong time, it's
Mhm.
actually so I guess what we would call bloat
Yep,
or something like
yep.
that. Have you had any issues where people have dealt with that, or is that just
Um,
something the way it grows?
in areas that it's not very common, that they'll just gorge on it type thing. They'll eat it almost like night and day, and that's when you have a bad, or a recipe for a disaster on that one too.
Okay.
Um, it's not an area that they have it. Certain brassica plants can do that to deer too. It'll cause
Okay.
a weird bloating in their stomach. I know deer have the 4 chambers in their stomachs there, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's hard for them because they intake so much at one time. It it's very hard for them to break it down so fast. So
Hmm.
it can cause some bloating issues. Um, I've yet to see that per se with our stuff, um, but
Right.
for the most part, yeah. I mean, it's no different than us. If you eat something so much, you can always get some issues with it. So,
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily like a product issue. I was just thinking like just the overall like plant issue. If you've heard that being, if you've come across that with some people have had that issue with
I,
alfalfa.
I've I've only heard it online, and I've heard it from farmers that find some of the deer dead on their fields that they thought it was EHC or something like that. But for the most part, if the deer are used to it and they kind of
Mhm.
know in their minds and how their bodies are telling them, hey, you can only eat so much alfalfa. You have to go
Mhm.
get, woody browse or a different type of plant. So
Gotcha.
has time for them to break down. So yeah.
Gotcha. That
But
makes sense.
areas, yeah, like I said, areas that it's not common, they're gonna gorge on it pretty heavily.
Mhm.
So yep. But so I guess let's dive into, the hunting setups. So now that you got everything squared away and
Mhm.
it's opening day, let's just say opening day or bow. It's the first time you're out to your stand, so on and so forth. Um, the biggest things, and I know we hound on it and everybody hounds on it as a hunter, but always pay attention to your wind direction, your concealment. Make sure you had your shooting lanes set up prior to season.
Mhm.
Um, when it comes to food plots, deer get very, very smart with knowing when you're out there and when you're not. And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So, going back to the original, they can smell you or do your best of, watching the wind direction. Do your best of getting in and out without making too much noise. Because once deer know when you're in your stand, they're going to change their habits and they'll come out at night and use your stand and they'll hammer on it overnight.
Mhm.
Then you'll never see them during the day. Just don't educate them because once they're educated, that that's no that's no good. So then all your time and effort just kind of went out the window. So
Out the window. So let's focus on the property that you share with us.
yeah.
And obviously we see where the access and stuff that they've selected has been made. So kind of walk us through like how was that decision made?
Okay.
Because I see that it looks like it's running west to east, which generally is that's the predominant wind that's going to be if you're accessing
Yep.
the property. In my mind, I'm thinking it's going to be at your back. So
Yep.
let me, I guess, kind of explain how that decision was made uh, about those access trails and stuff.
Okay. So the reason why they have to access these trails the way they have to is one, how the property lines are set up for one.
Mhm.
Two, they have what you don't see on the map too is they have hunters to the north, they have hunters to the west, and they have hunters to the east. If I'm looking at my map, there's no hunters to the south per se.
Okay.
Um, so with that, if you start looking at the map, um, basically it's more of an early season kind of setup. Unless you can get that lucky east wind, um, you can kind of catch them off guard a little bit. Um, the reason why they set their stand way to the north there is once early season kicks in, that big field is going to have clover or alfalfa in it. I forget what we're going to do for that one, but basically once that wind's coming out of the south, they're going to come through those woods and they're going to come out there. They're not going to come
Mhm.
out to the north because that's all open field. And they normally don't cross. There is a deer trail that does come across from the north if we're looking at it.
Mhm.
But predominantly all those trails are to the south. So if you get a south wind, southwest, southeast, I mean, even on a west wind, you could gamble on it. So it all depends. But for the most part, all those are right there. So on a south wind, right there in the
Mhm.
beginning season, I mean, they can get in, get set up, and then even before the deer make it to the plot, I mean, you're going to see them coming down these trails. So
Yeah,
just
so it
how
looks
that,
like
what's that?
yeah, looks like south and east would probably be your best bets when it comes to wind, the way
Yep.
the way they have that set up.
Yep. And you can see where predominantly, if we go back to the map, you can look and see, I mean, all the trails are coming, they're all coming out of that,
Mhm.
basically that southeast corner for the majority of the part. So,
Mhm.
they do cross from the west, and that is a road. I think it's a dirt road. So they'll jump across that, from time to time. So it's kind of a gamble. Now, let's jump ahead to Michigan gun season. And what we know about this property too is it's all swamp. And Michigan gun season, they get pushed around pretty heavily, and that is their safe haven, is that swamp area. So dead center in the map, they put a tower blind up so they can visualize everything out into that swamp area.
Mhm.
And I would almost say every single year they've taken a buck off that property on opening day or the day after in that open swamp area, just because that's the natural hideout zone for them. So, I mean, that's not even talking food plots, but that was just how it was designed is,
Right.
hey, we're going to utilize this more than bow hunting because, I mean, generally, most of the time on this property, it's a bow hunting property. So there's not a ton of gun hunting that happens on it, but Old Main, Michigan opening day is like a national holiday. So, I mean, they're going to want to go out there and shoot. So when we pulled up all the map and I showed them all the deer trails, and this is a golden spot. If you can just get elevated, you're going to have, shots all over the place like that. As soon as they did that, boom, done. Opening day that year, done again. Next time they're out, I mean, it was just one after another after another. So it's just one of
Mhm.
those things where studying the map told them, man, this is where predominantly where all the deer are going to travel, or a good portion of them are, and this is where we're going to get our shot at. So,
Right.
um, yeah.
And I'm
So
assuming that that went into decision of where that large plot was set there too, because it almost sits like right in the dead center of where all these trails are kind of converging.
right,
If I'm reading that right.
yeah, yep, and two with that as I'm looking at it too, it did change some of their travels once we created that bigger plot because you
Mhm.
got a couple that are coming from the direct south and heading right north, right into the corner to the
Mhm.
south end of that plot. So it did change some of that because back when there was nothing, they didn't take that way. So they would take those main trails that they have cutting across. So it's just like I said, I'll go back, a couple things, what you just did when you like going back to the trail cameras, what I just did that improve my hunting or did it take away from what, you know, or deter them? So those
Yeah.
are things to take into account too, with all your studying of your property that you're hunting. So, um, but yeah, I mean, they've got bow hunting spots all over the property. There's a
Mhm.
stand off in the southeast corner. Um, I mean, that could help them in a bow hunting situation in that corner if they want to hunt late season. I mean,
Yeah.
there's different spots, but utilizing the property with what they have, um, that's the best so far we can come up with. Can I tweak it a little bit more? Absolutely. So can
Mhm.
they do the same thing? Sure. So, but for the most part, how we designed it, I mean, it's every year there's deer coming off. I mean, at least a couple are coming off every single year. So,
Can't ask for
and some
anything better.
properties are tough. Yeah. Yeah. And then some properties are tougher. So say you go to a 10-acre parcel and that's all you
Mhm.
have. I mean, you're going to really have to study it and really have to understand the wind and really study with trail cameras and really focus on, hey, I want the deer to come to this position. This is where we're going to have to set up a plot. And you're going to have to just work from the plot out. That's how I
Hmm.
kind of put it. So sometimes it's easier than that. Maybe you were like, man, this is already set up for me and all I need to do is plant. So yeah. But for the most of the time, smaller properties are that way, that where you work from where you can put a food plot and then you work around that. So
Yeah.
if that's the direction you're going to take. So, and
Yeah.
there's
I
other
mean,
little things too in a hunting setup. You can add watering holes. I seen a couple, I don't know if it was a Drury Brothers or, um, oh God, I seen them. They put little, small watering holes. They're not the kiddie pools. They're a little bit different style.
okay.
But they did several different watering holes, and actually they did those closer to their stands than they did anything else. They'll have scrape trees set up in the middle of the plots. It's just more of a draw when it comes to whether the deer getting pressured, ruts kicking in. I mean, there's things you can add to those food plots to draw them in too. So I've yet to
Hmm.
do the scrape tree in the middle of the plot deal. I've seen there's a gentleman up in northern Michigan, I'm gonna say. Um, he had a bunch of deer rub on all the pines and everything, and he basically left his pines standing in his plot, and they used those pines for their scrapes and everything
Hmm.
underneath them, and he
Yep.
just leaves them as is, and it's worked out really, really well for him. So, I mean, just
Mm.
utilize even what's there too to build even more of a like an attractant towards your
Hmm.
spots. So,
Well, I know a guy
yeah.
that can help you out with your scrapes.
Oh yeah, the doctor.
Yeah.
Yep,
Those,
yep. So
those trade doc-
he's given me a few ideas. I mean, if he can come up with a food plot scrape tree deal, that I don't know, I'll give it a shot.
Mm, we
So
yeah, maybe you have to talk offline about that.
yeah.
And but
So, but there's different like that. I mean, those are different things that you can do. I mean,
mhm.
going back to our episode about screening. I mean, crap, man. I mean, you can build borders around things. You can split plots. You know, with border screening and split them into two different plots in the same area. I I mean it's design imagination, see how the deer react to it. There's a boatload of different things there. So
Yeah,
um
let's focus on our property for a minute again. And that
yep,
large plot there, what's their so the so I guess let me dive into a couple questions. So the
okay.
open field that they have there, right? The open fields, and I'm assuming that's like the tannish color that's on the map there. Like
To the
you look into the headlight to the
to the
north,
north to the
to the
north there,
north.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like it's taller like waist high grass. I don't know how
Okay.
if there's any specifics like wild flowers are kind of growing up in there and stuff. So it gets
I guess
about waist high and it just turns brown and then
I guess what you'd call would be like CRP, like I
I
guess
would
like a
say something like
something
that. Yeah. Not a
like that,
true
right?
CRP, but yeah.
Oh, okay. And then so the larger food plot, what was the most of the decisions going into that? Like what are we planting in there? What are we doing with that? What's
Okay.
the idea? What was the design into that?
So the reason that we did the plot we did and as big as we did it, it's about an acre, a little over an acre. The reason we did that is the there's no agriculture other than to the if we're looking at the map to the west or
Hmm.
check that the east, it'd be to the east. And in the east thing or in the east fields, they do it for hay. So when they grow hay, I mean, I think they do more of a grain type mix, if I'm not mistaken, in that field.
Hmm.
A little bit of clovers, everything like that, but they do the hay so much that it just, it never turns out to be anything where the deer can kind of have a place to graze, the farmer's always out there too. The deer get used to the farmer, but for the most
Hmm.
part, there's something happening always there that can leave them on edge. So
Hmm.
why we put that there and why we stick with the clover. We've tried brassica there. Brassica worked out really well. And then why we're going to switch to more of um, alfalfa, some type of, carry along all season is we can have those deer come in there. They're untouched by anybody. Nobody bothers them. They get
Hmm.
used to taking the same travel corridors all the time. mom and the little ones probably show up in there all the time. The bucks get used to, hey, this is my safe travel, early season. So he's going to just, how they work. They're just like clockwork in this early season. He's going to show up here at this time and, warm nights. This is where he's going to be. The other reason too is why we put it out in that open field is you can see a lot farther away too. So you can have time for yourself to prepare. Hey, I see, these deer coming in. I can set up or adjust how I need to. So that's why we kind of did out in that open area. Because if you look towards the south and if you look on the pictures, it's hard to tell, but it's super low scrub brush. If you can see 15 yards, it would be that would be really
Yeah.
really good. But anyway, so it was set up to give you better shots, better angles. It was kind of a pinch point ish.
Mhm.
If you're looking on the map too, it does a weird curve and it heads to the north. It's a weird pocket of a drainage ditch. And I know I can't show everything of this, but there's a drainage ditch and that's where they jump and hide. And then that's how they can head west. On some of the
Okay.
west trails there, they can dive into that. So basically why we put it there is it's a very somewhat secluded area. And if any pressure were to happen, they can just dive back into that
Mhm.
southern section there. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of easier things there to set up for that property.
Mhm.
Um, so that's why that was set up there. There is two other plots on there. There's a small clover plot. It's going to be in the northeast corner. And that
Mhm.
one is, if I say that thing's maybe 10 yards wide, maybe by 25 yards long. I mean, it's a strip and
Mhm.
it's a small section, but it has overhanging oaks right underneath it with clover. And those deer, if they're running that field edge right along there and they hit that clover, I mean, there's scrapes galore that gets hammered hard
Mhm.
come that late. That middle of October and November, that gets run hard. So having that little clover plot there, that small little opening, man, makes a huge difference for them to stop and have a pass through. So there is another
Oh.
smaller plot to the south. It's where that
Mhm.
middle blind is where they can look over the swamp area. There's a
Mhm.
smaller plot there. Um, that does really well too. That's more of a pass through. The deer are just grabbing a quick bite, but they're heading right towards that bigger plot most of the time. So
Okay.
it's just kind of a pass through plot. Um, you, a few times they've got them bow hunting coming through there. So it's just, but like you said, it's based on wind.
Mhm.
So yep.
So I'm gonna give you an idea for the middle of the field scrape tree, right? I'm gonna
Okay.
give you my takes, right? Obviously you don't need them to be very high. Waist high is about waist high is actually about the ideal location for most deer.
Okay.
And get a fence post or any type of post and dig your hole. Maybe you want to bring concrete out with you if you this is going to be a thing that's going to be there forever, right?
Yep.
You can dig out your post hole and then set the post, get some concrete in there so it stays there. And then you were talking about all those oaks. Go through and trim some of those those oak branches off. And I would probably run maybe some type of PVC piping or something. Drill some holes and run some PVC piping through that. In a couple different
Fence
directions in
or
those
that
posts
pole. Okay.
in that hole, and then run and then zip tie those branches of those oak tree that you just cut to that,
Those
right?
PVCs
To the PVC so that it's hanging down for them to reach into and work. Like I said, it needs to be about waist high. It wouldn't go any higher than that.
for the
You can go
branches.
lower.
Are
Yeah,
you saying for the branches or the poles?
the branches. So
Branches, right?
the
Yep.
branches want to hang down. And if you run into an issue to where, like, say, like you have a couple that's a little bit higher, maybe however it worked out for you, it's higher. Add a couple more branches to that stack, and it'll weigh it down. So just
Okay.
keep tying a couple more branches to that to weigh it down to where it gets down to about your waist level.
Okay.
Um, Give that a try. I bet you'll find out that work. Like I know they like to
I'm
work oak. And I want to take a moment to talk about something that has transformed my approach to hunting. That's mock scrapes. I was introduced to the Scrape Doctor system 2 years ago in Columbus, Ohio, and let me tell you, it changed my game. If you're looking to dive into mock scrapes or just need a fresh perspective, I highly recommend checking out scrapedoctor.com. Their insights have been invaluable, and it's been great to see how my skills have developed since that first meeting. What's more, our relationship has blossomed into a fantastic friendship. And to celebrate that, I want to share an exclusive deal with you. Use code countryfried15 at scrapedoctor.com to save 15% on your purchase. Trust me, you won't regret it. It's like,
I'm always willing to give anything a shot. So here's my thing, and I correct me if I'm wrong. So we're
Mhm.
gonna head down a scrape thing, both something we're both not experts in, but we're pretty close. Have you had it where they're gonna hit something more on a wooden edge or just off a um just outside a cover before they'll go out into an open field and start scraping? Or have you had it where you'll get more attention if it's out in the middle or farther away from cover?
So here's generally when I see a lot of activities when it comes into like the inside corners is where a lot of the buck activity comes into. Like I have them run the interiors along
Mhm.
the edge lines. There was one walnut tree in particular that I put a scrape in, and like there was another one. Here's the funny thing. So there was a natural scrape, and then I put a scrape in a walnut tree, and the natural scrape was actually inside the tree line, right? And I put cameras on both of them. I had more activity on the walnut tree that was out of the tree line, like um, than I did inside the tree line. Like
Okay.
so you got to kind of look at it like this is not this is just a very high overview. It was like a
Okay.
T, right? So
Yep.
this walnut tree set out here, like this is the main like travel, like I would say travel, but this is like the main tree line here. And there's this little finger that came out. It was just this part here, right?
Yep.
And inside here, right, was that natural scrape. Like inside this part here was this natural scrape I had a camera on. And then out here sat that walnut tree. I had more activity on a walnut tree than I did on what happened
On the
inside.
corners.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
So, um, obviously this too. A lot of that activity can happen at during the middle of the night,
Right.
especially
Right.
when it comes to field edges. Like it happens at night. It's not all the time. Once rut starts kicking in, or you catch them at the right time, the deer are going to start coming around and recheck those, more
Right.
and more. Bucks hit them. They're leaving their calling card there. Does come in.
Yep.
I've had does bed by scrapes. They just stayed there and waited for a
Yep.
buck to show up. And then I've also had bucks that just hung out at a scrape. Like I've got video of it. I've got I've got pictures of it of deer just hanging out there. So I think to be worth it, it's something that's going to give them. First off, it's deer are curious. Deer are curious, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
You
Absolutely.
you put that out there and they see that they're going to work it. Like there's a reason, and I'm not. This is one of James's competitors,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why the buck sticks out there is because people throw it
Oh,
out there in the middle of the
right.
field, right? And that becomes their destination point. That's the destination focus point for the deer is that buck stick sitting there, right?
Right.
And so I think honestly, if you would take and you could try to copy what they do. Like I'm not, obviously don't
Oh,
sell it because
I
they'll come after you. They'll
any
come
ideas?
after you
I'm
for
just
it.
yeah.
They'll come after you for it. But if but take like like I said, like a post or something. Like either you take a fence post or whatever, or go get a 4x4 or whatever, dig down the ground so it's nice and solid. It's not going to go
Mhm.
anywhere. You can add concrete if you want. If you want to be able to take it out at a certain point, maybe not concrete, but get it down deep enough. And then you can drill through, get your 1 inch or whatever it is, drill bit to drill through that,
Yep.
run your PVC pipe in like you know, almost, I can't say a Christmas tree fashion, but you know what I'm talking about. Like you'd have
Yeah.
one face
You just
like a
got several different angles and brain.
a
Yep.
couple ankles and just start, adding your little oak branches on there or a pine tree works too. Cause you notice the guy was talking about pine. I'd be more apt to go more of a rounded post than I would a square post. The only reason I say this is I'm starting to see more activity of like when they come and do a scrape, instead of working the licking branch, it's kind of like that hangs out this way, they're
Yep.
actually like rubbing the tree itself. They'll come down, they'll
Okay.
paw the ground by the tree, but then they'll rub. I've maybe I'm just paying attention to it more these days than I was in the
Okay.
past, but I've seen that a lot more now than I remember seeing in the past. Like I've seen
Gotcha.
scrape, so it could be one of those things like when you buy a Ford F, when you buy a car, all of a sudden you see them everywhere because
Oh.
you're like, I've never really seen these cars before. And then you buy one, and now they're everywhere. So I
Oh,
never really did scrapes
I
before.
mean,
Now they're everywhere. I don't know.
it that's true. I mean, that's 100% true. I mean, I get that. So, but yeah,
So
nope.
I would
I mean, it's something I can look into. Like I said, it's not
right.
my forte. So scrapes. I mean, I know basic stuff, but for the
I
most
think you might
part,
be surprised. I think you might be
but
surprised. Really.
I know enough people. I know enough about, deer and scrapes and all that stuff that I can be dangerous. But I mean, I'm worth giving it a shot, at least to try it. Or if
Mhm.
anybody else has had that kind of success with, is it better on the edges, or is it better off a cover, or is it better out in the open? I don't
Do
know.
both.
I
Do
mean,
both.
yeah, do both. I mean, I guess, I mean, it doesn't hurt to try it. So
Mm. Yeah, do both
absolutely.
and do a lot. Like that's you'd be surprised how many scrapes are actually on a property, or
Yeah.
how many. You know, obviously, like I do a couple of the artificial ones. It's just the rope. Like I do the rope spray. Use a scent
Yep.
on it and stuff
Yep.
like that. Not very
How
many
did,
of those.
do you have pretty good success with that?
Hmm.
Okay. The rope
Hmm.
deal. Okay.
Yep,
I
that
just
walnut
wondered,
tree. Yep.
I, we have one on our property. It does
Mhm.
okay. I It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if it's a fad thing or anything
Oh
like
no.
that. I mean, it works.
Hmm.
It doesn't work as good as the natural stuff we have. If
Right.
I'm just being honest, I mean, I've had better stuff off the natural
Hmm.
branches hanging over. So, but does it work?
You're,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've seen it work on our
that walnut.
cameras.
Yeah, that walnut tree. That's what they were hitting was a rope. It
Was a
wasn't
rope?
a.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
because
right.
everything else was too high. And that's the thing too. Like you got to look at it. Like if you're trying to compete with like natural foliage, you're not going to, right?
No,
It's
no.
that
It's
spot that rope hung down right to my belly button or a little bit below my belly button, and it was the lowest thing in that area for them to come up and
okay.
hit. And
I got you. Okay.
so does, bucks,
Everything.
everything,
Okay.
everything.
Gotcha.
Throughout the rut, pre-rut, all that. Like it's
Just
I was
working
surprised.
it,
I
at
was
least stopping
surprised.
by and
Yeah, I was surprised that got hit as much as it did because I had one on an oak tree that there was a trail that it dumped out into it. They didn't get as much activity. That one, I
okay.
just did it on a whim. I'm like, this looks like. I mean, it looks like a decent spot. No deer crossed there, dude. That thing got hit all the time to the
Okay.
point where I'll probably going to hunt that a little bit more next year during the rut because
Yeah.
because I had some dandies showing up during the middle of the day, middle of rut.
Hmm.
And it was only a few hundred yards off the road. So really, technically, if you're watching, somebody was paying attention. You could see that buck hitting
See
that.
'em.
Like, yeah, he was just
Yeah.
out cruising. He was out there cruising. There's a couple of dandies that did that. So
Nice.
yeah, it's both.
Okay.
But if you wanted to err more on the side of caution, then I would probably do the oak limbs. I would
Okay.
go, I'd go
That
trim some of your oak limbs and then set those to where they're right about at the waist height
yep.
and then find whatever I would use the scent too. Like I'm not going
Okay.
to tell you, like I use the Scrape Magic from the Scrape Doctor. I've not had one issue with it. They love it.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot out there,
Yep.
but something, don't overdo it. It doesn't take a lot. And
No, that's one thing I've learned over the years is, man, you can put a lot of that stuff on there. It's almost too unnatural without much sense on there. So
yeah, but give it a try. I
yeah.
bet you
Hell
know,
yeah,
if
man.
give it a
I'll
try.
give
Throw,
anything a try if it makes it better. So
yeah, I mean,
um
and just watch a camera on it and see what kind of pattern you get out of the deer and stuff to
mhm.
see how they come to it. As long as you're getting in my opinion is as long as you're getting the does to come to it, you've succeeded.
Yeah.
Um, because obviously bucks at some point a buck's going to start looking for them.
Yep.
And if they can smell that and they know that's there, obviously they're going to start hanging out and coming around that. Like they may not take over the scrape. They may not, here's another thing you may find out too. Like I've done this a couple times. I've created a scrape. Say like you put that scrape out there and all of a sudden you have like an influx of scrapes all around the area.
All around it. Yep. I've seen that before. Yep.
So that could be a thing too, where now they're like, well, wait a minute, who's this guy out
Who's
here?
this? Yeah. Yep.
They start taking
Yep.
out a guy like, no, this is my place, dude.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, dude, I don't want to take up too much time on scrapes,
Oh,
but
you're
yeah,
good.
like,
You're good.
I would try it. If I was you,
Okay.
I would give it a try.
So there you go. Yeah, see, even I'm learning more stuff every day. So for sure. But I guess the only thing that I just popped in my mind, with clovers. Well, going back to the seeds, I kept saying clover was an annual. Clover is a pre-annual. It comes back every year. Annuals are every year.
I
So
know
I
what you
just wanted
meant.
to clarify that for everybody. I
I know
kept
what
getting
you
in my
meant.
mind an annual. It's pre-annual. Clovers, alfalfas, all those are pre-annuals.
Yeah.
They come back every year. Annuals are yearly, where you have to replace them every single year. So
So
that's your brassicas and your grains. So
okay? Oh, so you have to replace those all the time, right?
brassicas and grains, yes, every year. The winter rye and winter wheat, they'll come back in the spring. They'll grow really, really high,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll seed out. And once they seed out, they're dead.
Okay.
So, yep. Unless the seedlings drop on the ground, I mean, then they'll just keep coming back yearly.
All right.
So, but
And
no,
that
I just
includes
want to clarify that. It just popped in my head as we were sitting here talking about scrapes. I'm like, I did it again.
I
I
did
say
it
it all the
again.
time. I'm thinking in my mind like a regular person. Something that's annual comes back every year. So
That's
no,
how
it's
I
not
think. That's how
plant
I
world.
feel it. But I'm like, whatever.
Yep.
Who
So point me out. I'm the supposed to be the plant guy, and I'm calling them by the wrong name. So
well,
yeah,
I didn't think anything. I knew what you meant, but I'm like,
yeah,
in here until you said something about like, oh yeah,
it's
those
pre-annual.
are,
Yep.
those are
Nope.
perennials.
I'm the idiot. No, it's
Me.
I just get once I get like I said, I get super passionate about this stuff, and then I just start rambling, and I'm like, "You idiot! That's not what that is." So in my mind, it sounds good. So, but yeah,
This will probably be a
um,
good short to come up with. Uh,
yeah, I don't know. You can give me some grief off the camera too, but
I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that?
because you have to.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you're a firefighter. I have to.
yeah, exactly. So, um, I don't know, man. Going back, the only thing else I had on my list is, once hunting season stops, reflect on everything basically that you saw, did,
Mhm,
seen, heard, the whole 9 yards from that season. Adjust next year. There's been years that I've tried stuff to see if I am gonna actually change what's happening. I put up screening, and I know we talked about it in screening, but that was one of the lessons I learned is why I only plant an annual screening is because I wanted to see what it did when I put up screening, because I needed to section off a piece of our property where our neighbor who was visually watching the deer on our property, I needed to create that screen to block what he was seeing. And when I did that, it screwed up our deer hunting big time. It They didn't like the plant for some reason. When the wind got really windy, it crackled really, it was loud.
mhm,
They just did not like that being there. They liked that where they could see out in the open,
mhm.
and I just blocked it, and that did not help us at all. So that was a lesson learned. So, and I try
You're
to
like,
explain
you're
that.
like the
Yeah.
neighbor watching this. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. I, it was, I did it because I just didn't want people seeing the deer that were coming through and so on and so forth. It was me. And then I got burnt on it. Honestly, I really did. So, and I get a lot of questions a lot of times on screening, and people are like, oh, I got to do switchgrass. I got to do miscanthus. I got to do all these other things. The biggest thing I always say is, before you go dump a lot of money and a lot of time and effort into it, see what it does first. See how it's going to affect the deer. So try an annual screen one time. And if you have great success for it, man, absolutely put switchgrass in. Absolutely put miscanthus in there. Absolutely blue stem and Indian grass and all that stuff. So, but say you put all that time and money into it and then it grows and then all of a sudden, well, it's having reverse effects on it. Now you have a plant that is going to, you just dumped a lot of money into or a lot of
Mhm.
time and effort. And now it's messing up your hunting when it's supposed to improve it. So that's why I always say just try an annual screening first, just to
Yeah.
see the effects. If you're going to split a plot in half, try it with annual screening because if the deer don't like it, the best thing you can do is maybe one day go out there and mow it down. It didn't cost you anything. It cost you whatever
Mhm.
the cost of the seed was in your time, but you can mow it right down and then you could recover your season at least.
Yeah.
You don't want to go out there and mow down all the switchgrass that just came up because that's going to, yeah, that's just going to make it spread more. Yeah. And then yeah, there's a lot of things, but yes, poof. So, yeah.
Count your pigweed or
So,
whatever it is you're talking about. Hit that
yeah,
and
oh,
it's
oh
right
my
there.
God, pigweed. Don't get me on that nasty, stupid weed. That thing's terrible. So, yeah.
Well,
So
that makes
I'm
sense.
wish I could develop a chemical to napalm all that stuff, man. So, yeah, but yet again, just reflect on your season, see what you've seen, any improvements you can do. Um, continue to watch your trail cameras. See how the deer, if you do live in a zone or live in an area that you get a lot of snow, see how they are, thriving through that with the food plots you have out there or what
Mhm.
you planted. Are they eating it during the winter months? Um, just keep reviewing, keep going out there, after season. If new trails develop, add that into your aerial drawings or on your apps, add addition trails. Um, look for different new travel corridors or travel routes that they're taking. Even look for different stand locations. If you had trouble this past year getting into a spot, maybe move your setup because of the
Yeah.
wind or the deer seeing you as you're walking in when you know it was really tall and growed up, everything was grown up and had leaves on it in early season. In the fall, all that goes away now all the trees and sticks and that's all there is blocking your way, so they can see your little shadow moving across. So there's a lot of things to it. So yeah.
That there is. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's that makes sense though. Like everybody should like recap like what happened during the season and kind of
Hmm.
reflect on those things and what went well, what didn't go well, what can you do to improve these things? Like that's just the constant evolution of just, not just hunting, but that, that's the constant evolution of a person in general, like
Learning.
and taking
Yeah.
time to reflect on, yeah, that didn't work out very well. So what do I do differently? How do I make this better? How do I improve this? Right. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a major shift,
No.
back to the scrapes. Like sometimes it's moving them, two or three or four or five paces in another direction. All of a sudden now it's hot because they're just something about that specific spot they didn't like.
Yeah.
Back to, the cover thing. We're running that switch grab, or the screening that you were talking about. Maybe if it was moved a little bit to another, moved a little bit one way or the other, maybe it would not have been that big of a deal to them. But
Hmm.
or if it had been there long enough, it's one of those things they dealt with for a couple of years and they just got used to it.
Yep.
I don't know. Like
And
there's a lot.
yeah, like I said, that was just something I noticed when I
Mhm,
did something different. It changed the dynamic, and that was something I was like, well, and I had the same thoughts you just said. What if I did? What if I only did half the plot in the area that
mhm,
was blocking off where I'm thinking this person's looking at and left all the rest open? I maybe that small little section they just wouldn't go by that, and then they would use all the rest. But
yeah,
um, I mean, yeah, I've seen food, the different types of food. There was a gentleman I remember too, had to have brassica plot. Got to look, it's got to have big leaves. Deer gonna hammer on it. Never touched it.
hmm,
One thing, it was nothing they'd never seen, never ate before. Never touched it.
yeah,
Yeah, I go another county away and sell stuff to another gentleman, and they absolutely demolished it before even season started. It's just those weird little things that are unique to your property.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, yep. So, I mean,
I ran
we talk about clover being the greatest thing ever, and I'm not going to say clover. It's very good, but maybe there's a spot they have all the clover they want and they won't touch your plot. I
right.
mean, there's that dynamic too, where you got to look around at all the ag fields around you if you hunt in an agricultural area. So, I mean, why would I go to your spot when I have all the rest around me? So,
But then you keep playing it and wondering why it's not doing any better. Like, it's kind of like the definition of insanity. You keep going, you keep doing that with the
yeah,
same solutions, expecting different results.
yep. That's kind of a rundown, quick, nasty version of what I had for, kind of the setup to this property that, we went and visited and got going. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
yep.
don't think we could find a better way to put a bow on everything we've been talking about. We kind of touched on everything again and then kind of put it more into context of with this property of why certain things was done a certain way. So,
Mhm.
to give more of the why behind just going out on a map and just kind of doing stuff willy nilly. Like, here's the reasons why this stuff was done for this property.
Yeah.
So, no, I think we covered enough,
Yep.
man. I think we dove into it, and we're an hour and a half in, so we've given a good one, man.
Yeah. 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 I thought we were going to keep this one short and sweet.
Well, you know what happens
No,
when
like I
you
said,
get two guys,
once,
you get two guys
I don't
talking.
know. Yep. Something we love, man. Oh man, I could sit here and talk about hunting all day long. So I think we had to go to kids thing at school, and I sat with the dads who hunt and fish and everything. I think we talked about turkey hunting and spring fishing for the 2 hours that we were there. As the wives are all like, "What? What? Can you guys talk about anything else?" It's like, nah, I don't
Nope.
know. Just nope. This is it.
Nope.
So
No, that's why I hate going
that's cool.
places. I hate going places and there's no one there that does that hunts or anything. Because I mean, I
Right.
can kind of, you know, work my way through about just about any conversation, but it just doesn't have the same gusto to it as like a good hunting story or a good hunting conversation and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um, hunting, archery, those things, I'm head first. Let's do it.
Oh
We
yeah.
start talking about
100%.
you start talking about other things, and
100%.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Lose my
Yeah.
interest
Oh,
pretty
we were
quick.
talking about yeah. I forget.
Right,
We were
get in.
talking about shotguns, and then some guy was talking about turkey calls that he got this season, and I'm like, shit, I'm so far behind that stuff too. I've been packaging seed left and right. And don't get me wrong, I love doing that stuff too, but I got turkey hunting on my mind, and the boat's got to get set up for bluegill fishing and everything that we're gonna do. And oh yeah,
Yeah,
so
more power to you, buddy. I
can't wait
don't.
for the.
I'm still debating if I'm gonna go turkey hunting this year.
Oh come on, man, you don't like that?
Ah,
Oh
man,
man,
I don't like I don't like the fact I get outsmarted by an animal who has a pea for the size of their brain. Like, I don't that kind of hurts my ego a little bit.
you
Just
can't
when
tell me that you when you get out there and it's that spring morning and those things are gobbling like crazy. That's not the coolest thing in the world. That is,
it
I
is
man, that is
it
pretty
is
sweet.
it is the issue we've ran into here recently. It's almost like northern Idaho and elk. Like they're quiet.
Oh,
Like we don't
oh,
get a
they
lot of
just sit quiet.
yeah.
Oh my
We
god.
our bobcat population's pretty high. Um,
Oh, okay.
despite what somebody will tell you,
Oh,
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
we have
Those people.
bobcats on the rise. Of course, we have coyotes,
Yep.
skunks, raccoons.
Yep.
So every now and again, you'll get a tom that'll get hot and they'll start, chirping off or gobbling
Mhm.
while they're on the ground. But usually, a lot of the times, most of the gobbling you get when they're in the tree. And then once they hit the ground, they shut up.
They shut
And
up. Yep.
yeah,
I
and I
was gonna
kind of
say oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was gonna
No,
say, most of our Easterns up here do the same thing. You can
yeah,
get them just cranking all morning long, and as soon as they touch the ground and they're henned up, that's it. They go
yeah,
silent. They might
I'm done.
gobble it here and there, but
Right. And that's the frustrating part of it behind me is like that's the part that's exciting for me is the fact that they're gobbling and stuff. It's kind of like elk hunting too. Like if I'm not hearing elk bugle, and
Hmm.
yes, I'm I'm out. I'm bored.
Oh, that's
let's
it.
go. Let's go do
Okay.
something else. I'm bored. Uh, oh, I don't know. It's because it's just it. I don't understand. Like I understand whitetail.
Yeah.
I know if I'm here, there's probably going to be a deer here. Turkey. My best guess on turkey is that they just do whatever the hell they want when they want, and then that's it. It's like there's no rhyme or
Yeah.
reason. It's just I'm going this way today. Okay.
Okay. All right. I mean, fair enough. They do that, those stupid things. Yes. So,
Uh, but no, I'll sit there and I've had them. I've had some opportunities at some birds. I've missed one, and then I got my first turkey, which was a Jake, and I am not upset about that at all. And
oh no,
I'm
man.
the fact that I shot one, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm a grown ass man, and I'm getting outsmarted by these freaking birds, and I'm excited. I got my first one that was a Jake, man. Um, we still go like we'll pack and we'll kind of treat it like a turkey, like not turkey hunt. It is a turkey hunt. We kind of treat it like an elk hunt. We'll
Okay.
head down to Southern Ohio. We'll pack in our tents and stuff, and then we'll because we got larger swaths of public land down there, and
Okay.
with the national forest, it's all dispersed camping. You can camp wherever you want, right? So we'll pack
Okay.
tents and stuff, and we'll kind of follow along and find our spot to camp, and then we'll hunt a little bit. If we're not getting much, we're not getting anything, we'll pack up and move to the next spot, and so we kind of treat it
Mhm.
like we're hunting elk. So it's fun, other than the ticks.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than the ticks, yes. That is an awful. Yes, we have those terrible up here too. The
Yeah.
stupid things. Yeah.
So I'm on the fence if
Mm.
I want to do it this year or not. I might. I pulled some of my camo for it. I'm like, I should probably try to put one of those trips together and just go just to get away because I'm not going to Colorado this year to hunt. So
We only have a month to hunt them, so up in Michigan. So a
we're the,
month, a couple weeks. So
we're the
it's
same. I think I
oh
found
okay.
out your guys. I think your guys' season starts exactly the same as ours. Ours
Oh, does
is
it?
like ours is like the last part of April and goes out in the
April,
last part of
May.
May.
Yep.
Yep.
Nope. Then it's the same. Yep. Okay.
Which I figured you
Yep.
guys would start later than us because you guys a little bit further north, or you figured it'd take them a little bit longer to actually have
Right.
start breeding and stuff. But
Yeah. It all depends. It depends on how the dates all fall. So
mm,
some one time it started the 22nd. One year it started later than that. And then this year it starts early. It's like April 18th. So
yeah. I haven't looked
so
to see when
and
our I gotta look to see when ours comes in. I haven't. I know it's later in April, but
okay.
run through May. First part
Yeah.
of our season, you can only hunt half a day, so you can only
Yep.
hunt first half, and then the second half of the season, give or take. Like I'm giving generalizations. I'm not a prolific turkey hunter. I just know like usually the first half is just the first half of the day. Then finally the last half of the season, give or take, it's the full day you can
Full
hunt
day.
them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So yep. So
Well, maybe I'll go get my turkey tag now. Thanks, Tony.
should should. I've been watching you shoot your bow there, and you can probably drill one from 100 yards out, can't you?
I
So,
probably maybe
oh, you can
I
have
gotta get I gotta get enough of with the shotgun first, man. Before I try the. I started trying the archery thing. I'm like, you know what, this is stupid because I can't. This is
yeah.
dumb. I'm gonna get picked off unless I go out and do a bunch of blinds and stuff. But then, even then, like that's I don't know. To me, turkey like deer is one thing to do with a blind, right?
Hmm.
But turkey is a totally whole another animal,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
And then you got to be careful because then if somebody here in Ohio, like absolutely cannot bait for turkey, cannot do it. Like
No,
if
you can't Michigan either. You can't bait them.
I forget how far, don't people don't hold me to this. I don't know if it's 100 yards, 200 yards. I don't know. Well, I do know there's actually not a specific distance in Ohio. And the only reason I know this is because somebody high up in ODNR, maybe I should just not say anything, but let's put it this way. Um,
You can't
we
bait
don't
them.
really, we can't bait them, but we don't have a direct, like how far away from a station you can hunt them at. So say
Okay.
like, there's a feeder or something going on,
Yep.
or you don't know, right? Say you don't know, right? And
Yep.
you go in and you end up shooting a bird, and you're like, oh crap, and you see it and it's like 200 yards away. Mm, you know what? When I don't know what that distance is, and
Yeah.
it
I get you.
doesn't sound like I don't. It doesn't sound like we have an actual distance in mind of what it is.
Right.
So
Right.
without going into too many inside stories and stuff, I'll just leave it at that. We don't really
Fair,
have an actual distance.
fair enough. Yep. So,
Well, buddy, I don't think I have anything else. Do you?
okay. Man, I'm all set. It's been a blast, man, talking with you, and I hope you have me back to talk even just general hunting stuff. So,
Well, I would definitely love to have you back on the podcast at some point just to get caught up and talk about some things, man, because this has
yeah.
been a blast. Like, um, the one thing about the podcast, like I started to just kind of be a voice about just being, I guess, a reasonable voice in the hunting space where it's not all about big antlers or all about these things.
Hmm.
Like it's out going out doing what you want to do and being happy with that. But then I started the friendships and stuff I started to develop, you know, with James, with you, like these
Yeah.
multi-episode series I've done, like and build these friendships and relationships with people, like has been like an unintended consequence of the podcast. And it's really it's one of the reasons why I keep doing it is the
Yeah.
fact of this relationship building and you sort of no different. Like I'm glad that we're able to get linked up and get this thing started and
Yeah.
here we are putting a bow on that series and I'm happy to be able to call you a friend. So
Yeah. Absolutely. No, all the side chats that we've had, all the the texts that I get sent to me, those those are what make it, man. That's the whole friendship bond thing of this whole,
yeah,
hunting community and everything like that. That makes it worth it. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. For sure, Tony, man. I can't thank you enough for all the time and effort you put towards, the podcast and joining us and spreading your knowledge. And, I wish you luck, in your upcoming seasons and stuff. And good luck with your turkey season, I guess. But
Yeah. It's only a week, but whatever, it's cool.
yeah,
That's all I got. Yep.
whatever. And I hope the red light takes off. It grows to where you want it to be, right?
Yep.
You know, I never say anything. I don't want to say anything about it, but it grows to where to the point where you can't control it anymore, and it just becomes a burden at that point. I just
Yeah.
hope it grows to where you're satisfied with it.
And I thought about that actually this past year. It is exactly where I want it. I can have these just like you and I. I can have one-on-one conversations and we can really dial in everything for you. That's my biggest draw to why I want one-on-one conversations with people about food plots. I've noticed too when you get too big, and I've watched people that have done what I'm doing now get too big, they don't have time for people. They either A, get too busy wrapped up into work, they can't enjoy what they're doing. It just, you watch that customer service aspect go away, and then it's not what it's about anymore. I mean, last year, I'm sure gave away more seed than I sold just because I had guys called me and said, "Hey, my plots are burned up and I'm in a bind. Here you go. Plant it this weekend now,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
just buy again for me next year." That's all I ask. And that little aspect I've learned is what is a key thing though to, you know, building more people, building those relationships, the strong relationships of having people, stay with you and understand what you're trying to do too. So
yeah,
I know I'm not a gigantic name like, all the rest of those guys out there, but I don't want to be. I'd rather have the one-on-one, make sure you get everything you ever wanted. I will take you step by step. You can call, text me with any food plot question, and I will give
yeah,
you all the knowledge that I know or everything I was ever taught. And I'll give you directions on what I use personally, where to get things, where to get fertilizers and how much. And I can get, all the calculations dialed in for you. And it's just off of my time and everything. So no, that's the biggest thing. So I love where I'm at. So it's exactly where I want to be. I'm busy, but I'm not killing myself either.
Not too
So,
busy, right?
yep. So,
Well, that's a good place to be. Well, since we're talking about contacting you, Tony, let everybody know as we close this out. Let everybody know where they can get a hold of you at, how they can reach you, where they can find you, all these things, socials, websites, all that.
yep. So we're on Facebook, Red Light Food Plot Seed Company. We do have an Instagram. I do have a website. Like I said, I'm still working on the website thing. I don't know if I even want to go that route. I get
Under construction.
too many emails of people just asking the random questions all over, and it's not my deal. It's still up there. If you go on our Facebook, you can find the Wix site
Mhm.
attachment, and that'll take you to the site. It's got all of our every mix that I have. And if you want to contact me, my phone number's on that. And I'm always willing to hear everybody out. I'd rather have the one-on-one phone conversation than an email sent to me. So
Yeah.
that's a much easier thing to do. Because then I know that you're really interested in doing this. You really want to put forth the effort. So that's yep.
Well, man, anything else you got to get out before I put a bow on this one?
No, I appreciate you finding me. Appreciate you giving me, the time to hear me out with all my long-winded food plot talk about seeds and growing the same thing over and over again. But no, I
Uh,
appreciate you, reaching out when you did and, building the relationship. Uh, you, I know you're a police officer and I appreciate all that you did with that. So I'm going to give you shit for that too. So, but
hey,
no,
we all can't be perfect, so
I mean, you got to be a fireman to be perfect, right? So,
I guess I
but
don't know.
no, but
Uh,
no, it's been a great man. I even like this this podcast too. We were come up with trying to figure out dates. And I'm like, man, I am buried at work and I'm trying to do this stuff. And it just
yeah.
killed me inside. Finally, when you're like, Sunday, we're doing it Sunday or we're doing it whatever day, it is this date. And I'm like, I went up, I dialed it in my um, calendar on my phone. I went home, told the wife, this is what I'm doing this night. This is what we're doing. So I'm like
It's just
setting
happening.
it, setting it in stone. So
I try to be flexible and
yep,
stuff, and it's just getting to the point. It was getting not to the point, but I knew we were working on it. I knew you were busy. You and I had a lot of
yep.
conversation on the side there, and we got you on. And but I was getting close to like I need an episode because I got to release. I guess I got to release Wednesday. Like I need something. So I'm like, oh,
Oh,
hopefully this works.
yep, yep. No,
Hopefully this works.
yes. Like I said, man, I'm making her happen for you. So
No, well, I
that's it.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate you took the time and you can
Yep.
thank James. James is the one that said, "Hey, I got this food plot guy you should probably talk to." And I'm like, "Okay." I mean, I'm game. And so James is great doctor, getting us hooked up and getting us taught, at least in the direction. And I'm glad that
Hmm.
we were able to get that started because it's
Yeah.
been quite the series. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go check out Red Light Food Plot Seed Company. I got it right that time. I didn't call it anything else. I
Nope.
think I called it First Light the first time because
First light seed or something like
First
that.
Light.
That's all
Yeah,
right.
that's not it at all. But yeah, go check out Red Light Seed Company. Get a hold of Tony. Get all your, asking, whatever questions you have, and get involved and start building those dream properties you've been looking at, or even if you just got a small plot, you're looking at a small plot or just something, just to get started in, man. They reach out, get that ball rolling. And ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate that you spent it's been 2 hours now. We appreciate you spent the last 2 hours with us on this last episode of the series with Tony. We know that your guys' time is very valuable. We don't take that lightly that you spent the 2 hours with us and listened to us talk. With that being said, please make sure that you follow the show, like, share it with your friends, your family, and all those people. And you can also check us out on our social media at Instagram at Country Fried Outdoors. You can see us on TikTok at Country Fried Outdoors as well. And then YouTube is Country Fried Outdoor Productions. You'll see the podcast will populate on Spotify, Apple, and then YouTube gets the video version. And also you can find us on iHeartRadio and Amazon Music currently. I haven't shut those off yet, but maybe at some point in time. But anyways, that's where you can find the podcast. Share it with your friends, like I said. But ladies and gentlemen, with all that being said, until our experiences cross paths again. May you have the courage to fail, but yet the humility to learn. And as always, we hope you stay safe out there, and God bless you.
Thank you for listening to the Country Fried Outdoors Chasing Your Experience podcast. Before you go, don't forget to leave us a review and follow the show on the podcast platform of your choice. Are you hungry for more Country Fried Outdoors? Then follow us on Instagram at Country Fried Outdoors, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Country Fried Outdoor Productions.